$680 million poured into precision ag last year. Autonomous weeding robots dominated, and John Deere made 2 acquisitions in 3 months. A food company, not an equipment maker, bought a robotics startup to protect its own supply chain. The deals are accelerating, the money is moving, and the winners are already separating from the pack. If you're investing, building, or buying in this space, you need the full picture before your competitors get it. The 2025 Precision Agriculture Intelligence Report from iGrowNews is now available. Get your copy today at igrownews.com/precision.
Quick recap before we get into it. Last week was all about what happens when heavily funded digital agriculture platforms don't hit the commercial scale their investors expected. Flagship Pioneering folded Cibo Technologies and Indigo Ag's Source business, together representing nearly $1.5 billion in prior funding, into a brand new neutral data infrastructure company called Terion. We also covered Munters exploring a sale of its Spiria food tech business, FMC and Corteva locking in a 10-year rimisoxafen herbicide deal with a $200 million pre-purchase, and the EU Parliament adopting its new gene editing framework, splitting plants into NGT1 and NGT2 categories, with an important caveat that plants engineered for herbicide tolerance or insecticidal properties are excluded from the lighter touch NGT1 status. Worth going back to if you missed it. Now, this week's podcast. Welcome to another episode of AgTech Digest, your go-to source for the latest in agricultural technology. This week is a good one. Tropic just became the first fully integrated banana genetics company by acquiring the propagation business it needed to actually commercialize its gene editing work. Reservoir made its first ever acquisition and fundamentally changed what it is. The U.S. government released 2 simultaneous policy instruments linking soil health to biofuel pricing for the first time. And the Supreme Court just put a ceiling on a decade of Roundup litigation. We'll get into all of that, plus new autonomous field platforms, a desert soil startup backed by Aramco's VC arm, a 3-party potato supply chain deal in China, AI planning going live at an Australian supermarket, a dual-function rice gene, and a couple of notable leadership moves. There's a lot to cover, so let's get started. Let's take a look at what this week brings us. M&A is quietly absorbing distress rather than letting it turn into bankruptcies. 26 M&A deals in Q2 2026 versus 15 in Q2 2025, while formal insolvencies have held flat at 3 to 4 per quarter. The headline capital figure of $24.6 billion drops to $3.8 billion in actual U.S. private capital once a single $15 billion Egyptian sovereign project is stripped out, which is a good reminder to always read beneath the top line. The companies that survived the 2023 to 2025 contraction largely repositioned as ESG infrastructure, sustainable aviation fuel feedstock suppliers, or carbon finance vehicles. Same underlying asset, different buyer, higher price. And agricultural robotics is going cross-industry. The same platform that works on a farm is now deployable in defense and logistics, and companies that built for both from the start are pulling ahead. What's in the news for us? Well, Tropic acquired Rahan Meristem, an Israeli banana propagation company operating across Latin America, Asia, and the Middle East. This is a vertical integration story. Tropic holds gene editing IP, but had no commercial-scale propagation infrastructure. Rahan provides exactly that. The combined entity can now move from genomic trait development to certified planting material within a single corporate structure, which is a real structural advantage as Panama disease pressure accelerates across global banana supply chains. On the accelerator side, Reservoir completed its first-ever acquisition, absorbing agriculture finance and data platform Contain. Founder Nicola Kerslake joins Reservoir as general partner. The move transforms Reservoir from a pure accelerator into an entity that owns the financial data layer, enabling it to track, underwrite, and recycle capital through portfolio companies in a closed loop that most agtech investors simply don't have. In testing infrastructure, Eurofins Agro Testing acquired Laborator Postoloprty, one of the Czech Republic's most established agro testing labs, founded over 35 years ago and employing 30 staff. The acquisition extends Eurofins' Central European testing network ahead of tightening EU pesticide residue monitoring requirements. On the funding front, Taraxi, a Kaust spin-out based in Thual, Saudi Arabia, raised $3 million in a Seed 2 round led by Wayed Ventures, Aramco's VC arm, with Kaust participating, to scale proprietary soil regeneration technology in desert environments. This is a direct commercial play on Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 food security agenda. In sovereign agricultural finance, Africa Finance Corporation arranged a €108.3 million facility for the government of Togo to modernize its agricultural sector and strengthen national food security, one of the largest single-country agricultural finance deployments in West Africa this year. In product launches, BASF launched Ethicon insecticide in Egypt, powered by the novel active ingredient Axalion Active, targeting whiteflies and aphids in high-value crops. Separately, BASF's Adapso fungicide received FRAC Group 56 classification, its first assignment to a new mode of action group, which is a meaningful regulatory milestone for resistance management. ADAMA launched Novali, a high-load liquid pyroxasulfone herbicide at 400 grams per liter, the highest load available in this chemistry class, targeting residual weed control in soybean and corn, with commercial sales beginning June 2026. Burro unveiled Grande 44, its most powerful autonomous outdoor work platform to date, developed using NVIDIA Isaac Sim, targeting tree fruit, vineyard, and row crop operations at commercial scale. Roquette launched Neosorb AG, a plant-based polyol range for sustainable agri-finance formulations targeting crop resilience adjuvants and nutrient delivery systems. In partnerships, Fisher Farms signed a strategic partnership with Seed Group, a company of the private office of Sheikh Saeed bin Ahmed Al Maktoum, to fast-track its entry into UAE and MENA vertical farming markets. Refarm Global and Dubai Holding launched Sea Soil at Palm Jumeirah, a circular initiative converting coastal algae waste into regenerative compost, with pilot trials already underway. In a notably rare three-party alignment, Syngenta Group China, McDonald's China, and McCain China signed an MOU to build a more resilient and sustainable potato supply chain in China, bringing crop science, fast food, and processing together at national scale. Ag and Kohl's Supermarkets deployed an AI-driven sales and operations planning platform across Kohl's fresh meat supply chain covering beef, lamb, and pork. The UK's Farming Innovation Programme received an additional £53 million for 2026/27, bringing total FY investment to £123 million, with the 2026 competition calendar now open. And Elite Agro Holding inaugurated a 200-hectare blueberry and raspberry production facility in Kenitra, Morocco, its seventh farm in the country, reinforcing a Gulf to Africa production strategy. On the policy front, and this is significant, President Trump signed an executive order directing agencies to advance precision agriculture investment and increase support for regenerative practices. At the same time, the USDA released its final regenerative feedstock rule, creating the first federal mechanism that actually connects on-farm soil management practices to premium pricing in the U.S. biofuel market. That's the first time there's been a federal price signal linking what a farmer does in the field to what they get paid in the commodity market. In a major legal development, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled 7-2 for Monsanto in Monsanto versus Durnell, finding that FIFRA preempts state failure to warn claims when the EPA has made a definitive safety determination. In practical terms, that effectively caps a decade of Roundup litigation exposure for Bayer. On research, scientists at Cheonam National University in South Korea identified OSFESOD3, a dual-function rice gene that simultaneously improves drought tolerance and supports chloroplast development, with direct implications for climate-adaptive rice breeding. Finally, to close our news, on appointments, Loam Bio named Rob Hranek as incoming CEO effective July 1, 2026, as the soil carbon company scales commercially across Australia and the United States. And Nofence appointed Damien Lepoutre, founder of Geosys, as chairman, signaling a data-driven strategic pivot for the virtual fencing company. Looking ahead to upcoming industry events, mark your calendars for Commercial UAV Expo from September 1st to 3rd, 2026 in Las Vegas. Following that, Taiwan's Smart Agri Week runs from September 8th to 10th in Taiwan, and the Women in Agribusiness Global Summit takes place from September 22nd to 24th in New Orleans. Then we have the Global Agrovet Research Conference from October 7th to 8th in Dubai. Finally, don't miss EMA International in November in Bologna. That wraps up today's episode of AgTech Digest. We explored the latest developments in agricultural technology, from Tropic vertically integrating banana genetics with the Rahan Meristem acquisition, and Reservoir reinventing itself by buying the financial infrastructure it was missing, to the U.S. government creating its first-ever price signal linking soil health to biofuel markets, the Supreme Court capping years of Roundup litigation, a dual-function rice gene with real climate adaptation implications, and AI going live in a major Australian supermarket's meat supply chain. It's clear that the AgTech sector is making strides in sustainability and innovation. This week felt like a harvest, not of crops, but of decisions that have been building for years. Thanks for joining me. I'm Anna, signing off. Stay inspired and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
$680 million poured into precision ag last year. Autonomous weeding robots dominated, and John Deere made 2 acquisitions in 3 months. A food company, not an equipment maker, bought a robotics startup to protect its own supply chain. The deals are accelerating, the money is moving, and the winners are already separating from the pack. If you're investing, building, or buying in this space, you need the full picture before your competitors get it. The 2025 Precision Agriculture Intelligence Report from iGrowNews is now available. Get your copy today at igrownews.com/precision.